Because the slaves in here were so aggressive, the soldiers were not coming in here to pick the dead bodies. So, for instance, let me say if a slave ship will arrive next month and someone dies in here today, beautiful people, we have to stay here in the dead body until the slave ships arrive. We all move into the slave ships and the soldiers will come in here and pick the dead bodies. So apart from the feces, urine, the vomits, there will be dead bodies also here. That's it. And you can imagine the smell here. It was very terrible. Where we are standing, this is not just a physical space. It is an ancestral space. It is a spiritual space. We have the souls and spirits of those who died in here. If you have good eyes, you will still see them here. If you have good ears, you hear them talk, you hear them cry. They are not here just to harm any of you. And they are here just to let you know this is where they get. This is the same place that we've been fed. But I let you know how they were feeding them. Initially, they were feeding them outside, feeding them with roasted cassava, roasted plantain, some with fish, some with meat. It wasn't in a quantity that was satisfying. Little one that just keep them alive. Anytime that they brought the slaves outside, the strong and aggressive ones were trying to fight. So some were trying to escape. It became so disturbing in this castle that the soldiers decided not to bring them out anymore to feed them. And now they would feed them in their dungeons by throwing their food through this water. So beautiful people, you can ask yourself, 200 people part in here without flat. You stand this side, through from this side. How will the person standing there receive this? Whilst the floor has been scattered with human feces. Please, yes, hello. Yeah, welcome. Let's come inside. Thank you. Yes, keep coming. As I was saying, 200 people packed in here without flags. You stand this side, come from this side. How will the person standing there receive this? Palms on the floor, scattered with human feces. So you can imagine, even to get food to eat was very difficult. We had to struggle. Some of the captains decided not to eat at all. They decided to stay here, starve till they die, just to use their lives to protest about this thing that I was going here. Some of them too had no choice than to pick it up from the feces and eat them. You can imagine the type of sicknesses that we get here. Diseases, infections that they get. For them, they will die in their numbers. Anytime that they die, their dead bodies. Any question, beautiful. If there's no question, then let's see this. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the third chamber in the naval slave dungeon. And when you look on the floor, you can clearly see these floors are different from the first one. In here, you don't find any bricks. This is the darkened floor that I was talking about. The darkened floor that was excavated by the group of archaeologists in the first chamber. Beautiful people, today I can confidently tell you we are all standing on top of feces, urine, blood, sweat, tears, vomit, saliva, food particles that the ancestors left. That was compacted to form this darkened floor that we are all standing on. If they should excavate this darkened floor, we will find bricks underneath, like the first one that we saw in the first chamber. Ironically, the English built a church right on top of this chamber. God was worshipped just up here, while humans suffered and died beneath. The name of the church is SPG, Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, or the Church of England, or the Anglican Church that we all know. That is where it started. Preaching love your neighbor as yourself amongst themselves, how they were treating fellow humans this way. And for this, it wasn't a coincidence. It was intentionally done. I say this just because in Elmina Castle, the same thing happened. Also Castle, the same thing happened. In Elmina, the Dutch built a Catholic church right on top of the female slave dungeon. Christian Castle in Accra, that is also Castle. The Denmarks also erected a Presbyterian church on top of a dungeon. So you can see, they intentionally did it just to justify the enslavement of Africans. They were complicit, they condoned it, they empowered the ill treatment given to the fellow Africans. Because at the end of the day, the evil that they did benefited the church directly. The people who were doing the buying and selling of slaves in this castle were the same people who were preaching about Jesus up there. And right behind me, you can see a hole up here. This is a spy hole. And the purpose of this spy hole is for a soldier to stand up there and be monitoring the slaves in this dungeon. Interestingly, the spy hole that you see, it is connected to the entrance of the church. So anyone who moves in and out of the church will definitely see everything that is happening here. They were hearing them crying, screaming, smelling the stench, whilst they pass out there to worship Jesus. And on records, during church services, they used to come out, look through the soul to see their properties down here and be laughing at them. How did we justify? Any question, beautiful people? If there is no question, let's see the shorts. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the fifth chamber in the Mill Slave Project. You can see this place is a bit different from the other four chambers. This place is more brighter. This is where they do the selection and sorting. When I say selecting and sorting, I mean this is where they separate the sick slaves from the strong ones. Anytime the slave ships arrive, you will see soldiers up here with guns. And what they do is they just look through to see if they will see people who are sick, weak, blind, just to separate them from the strong ones. So don't just be up here just to see through. If you are sick, weak, blind, they move you there. They command you to move to the other side. But then if you are physically fit for the journey, there is an underground tunnel that you walk through to the door of no return. And that tunnel begins from the side. This is the entrance of the tunnel. This whole thing I see wasn't here. It wasn't here. We have the tunnel right behind this. And the tunnel has been blocked. Both the entrance and the exit has been blocked just to simplify the abolishment of slave trade. But then when we move up, I will show you a portion of this block tunnel for you to see how big and deep the tunnel is. It begins all the way from this side to the door of no return. So all the strong slaves will be walking through one after the other. If you are sick, weak, blind, you move there. When the strong ones are done walking through this tunnel, the soldiers will come inside the dungeons. They will come and examine the sick ones in there to see if they will survive and join the nation. If not that, they leave them there till they die before their dead bodies will be thrown into the sea. Sometimes during peak seasons, when they are bringing a lot of people in here, they send all the sick ones outside, tie them to the big cannonballs, throw them alive into the sea so they die faster, just to create spaces for others to occupy. The tunnel was blocked by a British governor here called Captain George McLean. It was blocked in the year 1834 when the British passed their second law of slave abolishment. And over here you can see an altar here. This altar that you see wasn't here while the captives were here. But it was here before this castle was built. You know, in most books, it has been written that the Europeans introduced Africans to God. And those things are fraudulent, they are lies. You have to know that West Africa wasn't a Christian nation. Christianity wasn't for Africans. We had our own religion, and that is the African traditional religion. Our forefathers knew God. They believed God existed. So they were worshipping God, but then their form of worship was different. They believe God is nature. For that reason, they can communicate to God through the natural things God has created. So they were communicating to God through natural things such as trees, animals, stones, mountains, rocks, rivers. Over here, there was a huge rock that the natives were coming here to worship. And that rock happens to be an oracle or a lesser god that the natives were coming here to worship. But then when the Europeans got here, due to the influence of the Europeans, the rock here had to be cut into pieces. Portions of it were sent to the township just to seize them from coming here to worship. But then they brought it back to its original place when slave trade finally ended. These are some of the pieces of the rocks that were sent to the town. In Cape Coast, we have 77 lesser gods or deities, and this happens to be the leader. Yes, the name is Nana Tabe. Very powerful. People still come here to pray. We have a priest here who watches the shrine, and then today he's not around. I'm going to perform to you how we pray by pouring libation, pouring liquor on the ground, and calling on God and being ancestors. You can find stools or chairs also there for visitors. Over here you can see a lot of things. These are for drinks. These are brought by visitors like you. Africans in the diaspora, visitors all over the world visit this castle. Present them. Just the brother can say rest in peace to those who die. So if you see this anywhere in the castle, that is the purpose. Any question? Actually, in here we do receive people from different parts of the world with different beliefs. So some of them just come here and spread these coins. That is from their own belief, their way of just praying over here. Some of them to just bring pictures. Others also here, some of them to do these greets. Any other person? Nanata. Yes. Tabi. Over here, so we have some of the original chains. Sorry. This chain that you see was found in the other chamber. The priest here saw it. It was tapped in this darkened floor that you see. So the priest had to uproot it and place it in. So this actually tells us that if they should excavate these chambers, we will definitely see some of these or other things that belong to the ancestors. This castle, when you die as a slave, they don't bury you. All dead bodies were thrown into the sea. So the whole area here became a cemetery for Europeans only on our own land. They excavated this place in the year 1996. And they realized there were so many people buried here, but then only 4 had informations. 1 here, 3 there. Interestingly, the first one here happens to be the only black person who was buried among the Europeans. His name is Reverend Philip Kweku. This man is from Cape Coast. His mom and dad are from Cape Coast, but then his father happens to be a local slave merchant in this castle. His father was also selling his own Africans to the Europeans as slaves. So because of the role his father played in this castle, the church and the merchants gave their son a scholarship at the age of 11 years to go and study at the Oxford University, England. He got there, got baptized in the Christian faith. So they gave him the name Philip. But then his original name is Kweku, my name, a Wednesday born. Because the English couldn't pronounce the original name correctly, they anglicized and corrupted the name Kweku to Kwaku. That got the name of Philip Kwaku. And at the age of 24, he was ordained to be the first black Anglican priest. And he returned to this castle the following year as a teacher. Interestingly, Philip returned and led an all-white congregation in the church that was built on top of the mill dump. He was the only black person in the church, and he happens to be the priest who was preaching about Jesus to an all-white congregation, whilst his own fellow Africans were down there suffering. On record, he returned to serve this castle for 50 years, 50. And at some point, he started to complain about the ill treatment given to these Africans. So the British were confused and they saw him as a betrayer. Asked him, Philip, who are you to condemn and complain about something that you have been benefiting since childhood? Because Philip was also complaining so much, the British soldiers and the merchants stopped paying him his allowances. So he moved out of the castle just to find something better for himself to do. But when he got to the town, he started to give the natives education, teaching them how to read and write the English language. So formal education in Ghana is attributed to this man. The first primary school in Ghana was named after him. That is Philip Kwaku Boys School. It is right in Cape Coast. He was born in the year 1741, died in 1816 at the age of 75 years. Reverend Philip. And the three that we see there belong to Europeans only. So you can clearly see even the dead, they separated the blood. He was a lawyer by profession and he later joined the army. 2nd July 1812, the fighter died. Cause of death unknown. He died at the age of 38 years. And those two belongs to couple, husband and wife. The name of the husband is George McLean, Captain George McLean. He was a British captain in this castle from 1830 to 1844. But then he was born in the year 1801 and he died in 1847. At the age of 46 years, and for the middle one, that is the wife, George McLean. Her name is Letitia Elizabeth Landon. From her name, you can know where she's coming from, England. She came to this castle to see the husband. She was the only female who came here. But then, unfortunately for her, just 2 months after her arrival, she was found dead in the husband's bedroom with a bottle which contained poison. There were so many rumors and gossips concerning her death. One school of thought said when Letitia arrived in this castle, she realized her husband was having extramarital affair with a Ghanaian mistress from Accra called Ellen Bannerman. So out of jealousy and frustration, she decided to poison herself. Another school of thought also say the mistress came to this castle, disguised herself as a domestic slave, went up there to save the wife, and she decided to poison the wife so that she can have the chance to continue the relationship with the husband. Others also believe she died out of malaria. But I personally, I still don't know what actually happened. She died at the age of 36. So husband 46, wife 36, soldier 38, and African man 75. This is a water tank or a reservoir. You can see pipes are connected to the roof of the castle to harvest rainwater. So whenever it rains, this rainwater was used to prepare food for the captives and also served as a drinking water to the captives. But now it's no more rainwater. We have connected carbon taps. So anytime we experience water shortage in this castle, we use it for domestic purposes. We have 4 of them. 2 down here, 2 at the top. Right, so beautiful people. In the middle dungeon, I made mention of a tunnel, of which the captain, the artist, strong ones, they will walk through to the door of Purity. This is a portion of the tunnel. The tunnel begins all the way from the middle dungeon, rounds through this direction.
Yes, that there was
So the slaves that will walk through the tunnel, walking underground. This is in here, all the way to the door of Purity. Over here, a soldier will stand up here with a gun, just to command them to move faster. At the same time, counting. In here, there is no staircase, so no one gets in from the side. No one comes out from the side. You enter from where we have the shrine, where it has been blocked. That is the entrance. Exit down there. Just take me up. Make sure you don't fall. I showed you the entrance of the tunnel in the middle dungeon, and now let's get it. So you can see how long the tunnel is. It's about 70 to 80 meters longer. So anytime the slave ships arrive, you see the soldiers standing here, and you see the slaves coming out one after the other from the temple. They'll be in chains and in shackles in this position, always crying. As soon as they come out, they'll use this side. This was the initial door of no return, or the old door of no return, and then the soldiers block it. They block it just because when they see water becomes rough, it used to come in and flood this whole place. So they block this side and created another one now. So anytime the ships arrive, they don't go this way anymore. But then they'll come out, join the females, and use the new one to move out from it. Listen. Alright, so this is a punishment cell. And this punishment cell that you see was specially designed just to use it to punish the female slaves who resisted rape from the British soldiers.
Who what?
Who resisted rape. You know, over here, the soldiers were not coming here with their family just because the postal belt was termed as the white man's grave. They were finding it difficult to survive due to malaria. So over here, they were not coming with their family. So anytime that they were here, they wanted to satisfy their sexual hunger. They end up abusing the slaves, that is the females, by raping them. Whenever you resist rape, you have a BP, easily discussed. First, they move you up there, beat you up mercilessly. After beating you up, they push you here. In here, you have to stay here maximum 7 to 10 days. Minimum, depending on the time that they will have a change of mind. You receive your food and water through this portal. Same place you get your light and ventilation. This place was covered with a big metal plate. And on record, after your 7 to 10 days, if they bring you out and you still insist that you won't allow them to rape you, they will move you under again. You see the bangles over there? Those are called cannon balls. They are very, very heavy. They weigh about 40 to 45 kg. That is the bigger ones. They tie it to their legs and you tell them to move. If you are able to walk with a cannon ball tied to your leg, you are free. They will bring you out to the top. Then if you're able to move, meaning you are filled the thirst. So what they do is they move you to the sea. They wash up the toilet, urine, blood, everything from you. From there, they take you to the bedrooms and sleep with you. About 2, 3, 4, 5 series at a time. And when you're done, you just push you up. So you're thinking, trust me, the mother is very heavy. So you can't move your head. They had strategical ways of getting what they wanted from the females. Any question? Let's see if you know this.